Hi everybody, John back again. Propfe asked us to show some record covers made by Hipgnosis. He showed 3, maybe 4 himself, I think just 3, and told us not to show any more than that, but since then he's given me special permission to show 1 or 2 more because I said, you know, there's so many to show. But I thought I'd try and step away from the beaten track and show some that perhaps you won't see so many of. First one is I'm going to show, this is human sexual response, figure 14. So we normally think about hypnosis being, you know, kind of a sort of proggy kind of 70s rock style record cover designers, but this is very much new wave. This album was released, I think, around about 1980. So it's got a slight sort of punky feel about it. It's a very, it's definitely a sort of punky sort of Xerox quality to this. And the record itself is actually got quite a few expletives in it, and sort of a quirky new wave feel to it. So there you go. It's a little bit of an unusual record, but it's definitely a cover designed by Hipgnosis. Next one I'm going to show, this record's been around the block a bit, so it's a little bit tatty, and to be honest with you, up here in my loft, the sun's gone down, it's not particularly light, so I'm going to hold these up, but if I think that these don't sort of reproduce very well on the video, I'll sort of slip in some images of what they look like in good light. So this is brand X, and this is a typical kind of Hipgnosis pun here. Now, brand X, if you don't know who they are, they're sort of a side project band. I believe it was put together by Phil Collins, or whether he was just a part of it, I don't know. But he played drums on their sort of first 2 albums, stepped out a bit, and then he came back for the next one, and then he's on, I think, 2 or 3 tracks of this one. They're sort of a, what would you say, proggy kind of jazz fusion type band, very drum orientated, but the drums are very jazzy, I suppose you might say. You really got to hear it. I can't explain what they're like. But they're a mile away from Genesis, put it this way, and I think Phil Collins probably really kind of enjoyed doing this because it sort of gives him all the chance to do the moth there. Go away, moth. Go away. It gives him a chance to do all of the, you know, the fancy drumming that he perhaps doesn't get a chance to do so much in Genesis. Anyway, so the pun on this record is, you know, like, so there's a lady wearing these crocodile shoes with high heels on, and then you've got the crocodile there, and so the name of the album is Do They Hurt? ? You could be forgiven for thinking maybe they're talking about a bite from the crocodile would hurt, but really maybe it's talking about wearing those shoes. Do they hurt? Maybe even, you know, from the crocodile's point of view, they probably hurt because they were once a crocodile. Typical kind of Hipgnosis pun. This is another one. I've had this for a long time. This is the Edgar Broughton band's 3rd album, actually self-titled album. It doesn't actually have a name other than the Edgar Broughton band, and it's sometimes referred to as being the Meat album, purely because of the meat. It's quite a dark cover, isn't it, as well? And you may not see, but here, amongst all of these carcasses, is a human body sort of hung up on a hook, upside down. This is an original, so the surface of the of the record is sort of a what would you say, sort of marbled, but like almost like a leather quality, which I suppose adds to this sort of, you know, meat feeling of the record. Dark inside there. This is another record that's been a little bit, it's a little bit beaten up, but you'll get the idea, and I'll definitely show a picture of this. So this is the Strawbs, the album called Deadlines. It's quite a late album for them. As you can see, it's sort of a landscape image with a telephone box, what we call a telephone box here in the UK, and it's full of water, and there's somebody kind of upside down, swimming upside down, probably drowning in there. And something that I've thought about whilst doing this, often or not, when you see a Hipgnosis cover, there's something unmistakable about it that makes you think, oh, that looks like a Hipgnosis cover. And many of them, not all of them, a large portion I would say, have this inclusion of sky. Now you think about it, you search Hipgnosis covers and look at many of the Hipgnosis covers, and they always, nearly always, I take away that word always, they very often use sky in the composition, which is an interesting thing. I guess that must be something that they consider. Maybe it sort of sets the scene somehow, puts things on a horizon. Anyway, so I thought that's quite an unusual one. The nice 5 bridges, another gatefold, another very sort of dark black and white inner sleeve, not inner sleeve, gatefold sleeve. Here's the album cover for the nice 5 Bridges album. I think it's a live album, isn't it? I'm not that familiar with it really. Had it many years, but it's yeah, quite a famous record. I've actually got a CD by a Dutch band who named themselves 5 Bridges, only with the number 5 Bridges. And yeah, they obviously named their band after this record. They only made one album, and it didn't include a Hipgnosis. This is one of my favourites. It's a record by UFO. I think it's about their 3rd studio album, 3rd or 4th. Again, it's another pun on this, because yeah, in the UK where I live, and where UFO are from, we call these taps. Yeah, it's where water comes from. In America they'll say faucet. I don't think it's spelt like force it, but the pun really is relying heavily on this sort of apparent sort of, not quite sexual assault, but some sort of an assault going on here in the middle. I understand that in America they softened this because it sort of came very close to breaking some sort of decency laws when this was released, so they actually made these 2 characters transparent. You can do that here. Now interestingly, for the longest time people were sort of trying to work out who these people are, and I've just read up about this. There are 2 people that formed a band called Throbbing Gristle. I don't know much about that, I don't really know who they are, but I think they're kind of unusual, sort of eccentric musicians of some sort, but there they are, both on the cover of Fawcett. And that is the last Hipgnosis cover I'm going to show today. Thanks very much everybody. Check out Chris's channel. most people already know who Chris is. I knew him when he couldn't paint his name on a gate, but there you go. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Check out my next video. Thanks again, Chris. Bye.